You want me to put that on my Tudor?
You are totally out of your depth. Daniela Elsa, writing in news.com.au, hits upon a useful summary of the current position of Harry's wife and Harry, which demonstrates the pair of them are completely out of their depth and how this is problematic, particularly for Harry's wife. It follows on her appearance at the Kevin Costner event. Elsa writes, Harry and Harry's wife have been photographed with a bunch of Hollywood A-listers, but there's more to these new photos than meets the eye. Explain to me, someone, the coat, aka horse blanket. In breaking news over the weekend that somehow didn't manage to dislodge the war in Ukraine or Brian Austin Green's engagement from the headlines, Harry and Harry's wife, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, appeared at their first US charity fundraiser as guests. Specifically, the duo turned up for 1-805 Live, an event hosted by Bodyguard star and current celebrity divorce participant Kevin Costner at his $225 million Santa Barbara estate. Photos show Harry wearing an all-black number, looking like he was off to audition for a Johnny Cash tribute act, while Harry's wife wore a confusing poncho meets short-sleeved coat number, despite it being about 21 degrees, which might suggest some high-end designer is looking to try and crack the Oodie market. Why does the Duchess keep turning up on warm days wearing big, wintry numbers that make it look like she is off to bobsleigh in Gstaad? Answers on the back of a postcard, please. In the meantime, there is a more interesting story to tell, one about power, success, and money, thanks to the new photos of Harry and Harry's wife at this charity event. Specifically, just how small fry they are in their adopted homeland of Hollywood. Now, pausing there, to describe them as small fry is devastating for Harry's wife because she believes that she's a big hitter. She believes that she's the center of the universe. That's what her narcissism does for her. But to anybody else, she can be seen to be a near nobody in the context of the people that she's trying to hobnob with. Consider the shots that showed up on social media of them posing with Oprah Winfrey, Katy Perry's parents, Ellen DeGeneres, and her wife Portia de Rossi, and Costner. In all of these photos of the celebrities pictured, Harry and Harry's wife are by far and away the least wealthy of the big names. Again, appearing in that group and being the least wealthy, thus having reduced status, amounts to a threat to control for Harry's wife. Let's run the numbers. Oprah Winfrey is reportedly worth $4.3 billion. Ellen and Portia, $590 million, while Perry's net worth was put at $527 million, all according to Forbes. They are some of America's wealthiest self-made women. Costner is valued at more than $620 million, giving him every reason to occasionally croon, "I will always love you," to his wealth manager. To truly understand what a big financial league we are talking about, consider the fact that the event was held on the Yellowstone Star's personal polo field. And old H of the many feelings, it's not even known if he, a keen polo player from way back, was playing on polos he himself owned when a member of the Los Padres polo team last year. Harry and Harry's wife, even coming off the back of years that have seen them ink massive deals, are still only worth a small fraction of what their chums are. Yes, there are more ways to measure success than just filthy lucre, but as the Sussexes close out what might be their most lucrative years, even now, they are not even remotely close to playing in the same ballpark as Costner and co. And that, of course, is a problem for Harry's wife. In order to maintain the innate superiority that she believes that she has, She has to be equal to, or even better, exceed the financial firepower of those around her. It really gets to her that those individuals are worth more than she is. Why? Because she truly believes that she should be worth billions. Because she believes that she is amazing, talented, and brilliant. And of course, everybody should just be giving her money because, well, she's Harry's wife. This failure to outgun financially those around her will be parked firmly at the door of Harry. He will be the one that's blamed. She won't think to herself, well, I'm a talentless nobody who managed to marry Fantapubes, who was a prince, and somehow have scrambled up the greasy pole. I should just be thankful for where I've got to. No. Her narcissism doesn't function like that. She truly believes that she resides amongst the A-listers, both in terms of status, fame, ability, and wealth. And anything that prevents her from being in that position is not her fault, but somebody or something else's. How much money might have the Duke and Duchess? Well, get your abacus out. We're going to do some counting. The Sun has reported that the Duke and Duchess's Netflix deal has seen them paid about half to the total deal's value, which would translate to them pocketing about 76 million Australian dollars. Next, there was the reported 31 million Australian dollars that Harry got for Spare. Lastly, it's not known exactly how much they might have received the approximate 30 million Australian dollars Spotify had originally promised them before severing ties in June this year. Even if we assume that they were paid the full amount by the latter, which seems highly unlikely, that puts the total at 137 million Australian dollars rather, and that's before tax and their own production and staff costs. Certainly not bad for two people whose CVs include military service, mid-level department store face and professional calligrapher, but chump change compared to Ellen et al. Of course, this is probably 137 million Australian dollars more than you and I have to our names, writes Elsa, but the sharper, stickier part that should be keeping the Sussex's accountant up at night is that this figure cannot be taken as just the exciting starting point of the LA careers, but could represent the pinnacle of their earning power. Indeed, I think Dania Elsa is entirely correct. Because of their plummeting popularity, the fact that people won't touch them with regard to deals because of the toxicity of Harry's wife, they've reached their zenith. That has passed. And therefore, that sum represents the pinnacle of their earning power, which presents two major problems for Harry's wife. One, it's not comparable with those that she believes she belongs with. And two, it's downhill from here. And it would have to keep them afloat for years, if not decades, with both the Daily Mail and the Sun having claimed of late that Netflix will not renew their contract when it expires. All the while, and forevermore, they will have to pay their own security costs and bankroll their lifestyle. Fundamentally, the problem that Harry and Harry's wife face is that Costa, DeGeneres, Winfrey and Perry can all boast established careers and are proven successes. The same can hardly be said for the Palace exiles who have, at best, dominated the cultural and political conversation at certain points in time via their royal revelations and the questions they have raised about the monarchy, power and the media. But are the Duke and Duchess successful entertainers? Surefire hotshot bets that executives will want to throw money at? Widely adored public figures? You get the point. Of the 3 Netflix series that the Sussexes have released, Harry and Harry's Wife, Live to Lead and Heart of Invictus, 2 have proved damp squibs in terms of audience performance, failing to crack the top 10. If there is one definite, nay 2, that can be drawn based on the titled duo's US stint, the Duchess loves a coat, and the public is largely uninterested in what they have to say if it does not involve them indulging in royal PR blood sport. It has become clear that audiences do not care a jot about spending their precious time listening or watching the Sussexes share their deep thoughts on leadership, gender inequality, or why childhood emotional hardship might have led to the annexation of Crimea. I'll never get sick of the fact that, per Bloomberg, Harry reportedly pitched a podcast to Spotify in which he would interview the homicidal, facelifted Russian megalomaniac Vladimir Putin and the chisel-hued former president-turned-serial criminal case defendant Donald Trump about their childhoods. Harry and Harry's wife are now moving in circles where their careers and fortunes do not even begin to measure up to those of the self-made success stories around them. The reason that they're moving in those circles is a consequence of Harry's wife's sense of entitlement. She believes that she belongs there. She's engaging in character trait acquisition. See, these are my people, except they're not. They actually have ability. They actually have talent. They actually have proven careers. You have none of those things. You are out of your depth. Their titles and being part of King Charles's family will always set them apart from their new capped teeth besties. But in terms of what they have independently achieved and earned since skedaddling out of London is absolutely teeny potato territory compared to Winfrey, DeGeneres and Perry. They have yet to sell out an arena, make billions, or build any sort of empire. And more to the point, they never will. They have no talent or ability. Still, might there be hope for them yet? Curiously, Costner is represented by WME, the same talent agency that signed Harry's wife as a client earlier this year. Maybe the Duchess will be able to afford her own polo field in no time at all. Is Elsa hinting there at the suggestion that she might be focusing on Kevin Costner as a target? Perhaps. But this very useful piece demonstrates the fact that Harry's wife is on the downhill slope in terms of not only popularity and likability, but financially. It also demonstrates that she's completely out of her depth in her attempts to hobnob with people who are far more successful, far more talented, and far wealthier than her. And all of that amounts to a massive threat to control. The simple reminder, notwithstanding the attempts of her narcissism to tell her to the contrary, that she's simply not good enough. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.